Alright, I'm Roy Dyson, and this is my persuasive speech. Now, throughout the years, government has tried to ask the same question, is porn bad? Well, I'd like to ask the question, can a government legitimately prohibit citizens from publishing or viewing porn? It would be possible to prohibit citizens from publishing porn or pornography, but it raises the question, why would we prohibit porn in the first place? Some say it's an addiction, others would disagree. But if you look at the facts, even according to Dr. Judith Becker at Columbia University, there are no scientific studies that show that exposure to nonviolent sexual material causes a person to commit sexual crime or become more sexually aggressive. Now, the first question that you'd like to state is, what do they define as porn? Well, pornography, or porn, is the depiction or explicit sexual subject matter for the purpose of sexually exciting the viewer. Pornography makes no claims to be artistic merit, unlike erotica, which does. Now, over the past few decades, an immense industry for the production and consumption of porn has grown, with increasing use of VCR, DVDs, and the internet, as well as the emergence of social attitudes for more tolerant sexual portrayals. Performers in pornography are referred to as pornographic actors or actresses, or more commonly known as porn stars, and are generally seen as different from their mainstream counterparts. Amateur pornography has become widely popular and generally distributed via the internet for free. Porn may use any variety of media ranging from printed literature photos, sculptures, drawing, paintings, animations, sound recordings, film, video, or even video games. However, when sexual acts are performed for live audience, by definition it is not porn, as the term applies to the depiction of the act rather than the act itself. Thus, in most countries, pornography is considered and treated differently, both culturally, legally, from depictions of nudity in art and photography. Now, until recently, the main opposition to pornography came from the moral and religious conservatives who argue that pornography should be banned because its sexual, explicit content is obscene and morally corrupted. According to conservatives, the sexually explicit content of porn is an affront to dissent, the family, and religious values, and deeply offends to a significant portion and undermines the stability of the moral fabric of society itself. By encouraging sexual promiscuity, deviant sexual practices, and other attitudes and behaviors that threaten traditional family and religious institution, conservatives regard it as intrinsically morally wrong. Furthermore, pornography is bad for those who consume it, corrupting their character, preventing them from leading a good and worthwhile life in accordance with family and religious values. Although many studies have been done over the years, those who advocate censorship of sexual material have repeatedly enlisted the help of researchers to prove a link between sexual materials and sexual crime. The link that has been established has rested more on religious and political thinking than objective research data. In 1967, President Lyndon B. Johnson established the National Commission of Obscenity and Pornography. But after 3 years of extensive research, the Commission found no convincing evidence of a causal connection between pornography and sex crimes. Indeed, the Commission concluded that the real problem is not sexual imagery, but the inability or reluctance of people in our society to be open and direct in dealing with sexual matters. Of course, being politically unpopular, it infuriated people who were not convinced that a link had been established between the two. Hoping that additional research would find different results, another government-funded U.S. Commission on Obscenity and Pornography was instituted in 1970. However, this commission concluded, we find no evidence that exposure to or the use of sexual explicit materials plays a significant role in the causation of social and or individual harms. Though no causal relationship has ever been conclusively demonstrated to exist between viewing pornography and deviant behavior, there does exist a well-documented correlative effect. A Dr. Victor Klein points out in a discussion of the effects of pornography, the fact that we cannot adequately measure the influence of pornography does not mean that they don't occur or that they have no effect. For example, all of the evidence linking drunk driving with high vehicular accident and fatality rates is correlation and anecdotal. However, despite this, nearly all of us would agree that there are probably a cause-effect relationship there. And many laws today have been passed as well as public policy decisions made on the basis of this assumption. This would be very good. Whoa. That was a good page. What was that?